Yeah, to make me see that by your grace I've been set free. By your grace I've been set free. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Matthew and Mikie's podcast, Mikie and Matthew's podcast. Special talent, Greg Rowley. Great job. Douchebag. It's not real good. No, I really felt it that time. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really good.
And welcome back for try number 2.
Yep.
Tried this other day.
And episode number 2.
Yeah, episode number 2. We didn't do a real good job, so we're going to try it again. We're at Inked Tattoo, and he'll be sponsoring soon.
So Zach.
Appreciate it.
Big sponsor.
Yes.
Craig, great job, buddy. Great job. That was awesome. We got big news today. I'd like to welcome Matthew Cole, head pastor.
Hello.
The bridge right here.
Sir.
What's up?
And we got
Thank
Craig
you.
Riley. He's what do we call you? The music director,
Music guy, I think.
music guy, the boss. Welcome in. Thanks for coming.
Good to be here.
So we're going to do this again. We're going to say, how did you get started in music?
I said before, I started out just always singing in church. I've always just enjoyed singing. Music always meant a lot to me. I was always the loudest one in the church. Just really enjoyed singing. Tried the choir route. I was too loud for it. And so I didn't make the choir. And then later on, I ended up getting into bands and some other stuff doing music. But it wasn't until the Lord opened some doors and opportunities for me to play guitar on a worship team. And that was kind of, I found out that's where I was at. That's where I needed to be. This is the kind of music that I've been meant to play my whole life and what I've meant to do. And then just the way the Lord works, it's just all of a sudden, hey, here you go. You're the guy. Right. You don't look for it. You don't ask for it. You're not ready for it. But he hands it over to you anyhow and says, run with it. And thanks to him, that's
kind of
what
both
I've been
of y'all's
doing.
idea right now. That's the way both of y'all are right now.
Yeah.
But that wasn't your main genre. You started out playing.
No, when I started, I started singing in church, which was hymns and everything. But the main genre was probably 90s alternative and rock, Rage Against the Machine, and that kind of stuff is where we started at.
Nirvana, Pearl Jam.
Some Pearl Jam. I was never a really big Nirvana fan. So I don't know. I think they were a little bit overrated.
I listened to them the other day. I was coming in from at work and just the unplugged. I used to love the unplugged version, so I pulled it up and it's horrible. I was like, well, how did I like this so much? Pearl Jam pretty good, Soundgarden good. I like Chris Cornell's voice and stuff.
Soundgarden's awesome.
Yeah, and then
Soundgarden's awesome.
I was like, this is not good at all. All they did was just repeat the same thing over and over and over again.
But when we were that age, that's what we were told was good.
Yeah.
That's what everyone was listening to, so that's what we sang, and so that's what was good. There's a lot of kids that are going to look back and
they just look at Seattle
question
now.
their choices.
That grunge thing went on. Now there's a lot of homeless people that was grunge. Seattle's got a homeless problem, so I'm just going to combine those two.
That's one way.
When you look back, you just connect the dots, and that's just
there we go.
Straight line. It worked. Yeah.
So we need to get our community listening more classical music, right?
Hey, I got my cousin now. He was such a great guitarist. I think he was 10th grade, 11th grade. He went and got some lessons done. So he went 2 lessons. Then the guy he was taking lessons from said, "Hey man, you're pretty good. You want to join my band?" He started being the lead guitar guy for that, and he ended up having some problems. He was schizophrenic, and it run into his family, and it was sad. But when I went over later, when he was a senior, I was a senior. He dropped out, but he was like playing classical. He said everything else was too easy.
Wow.
Like they talked about Randy Rhoads' finger span. He was doing that right off the bat. So when that guy that he was taking lessons from, who was a hard rock guy, they did Ozzy Osbourne, and all that stuff. He's like, "Hey, I'll sing and you play lead guitar." He started right there.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So garage band? Did you ever have like a garage band?
We did have a garage band. I think it was more of an apartment band. So we had a trailer park band.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, we used to play at South Saudi.
Yeah.
And a friend had a trailer. We played there, and the sound, we had to stop at 10 o'clock every night. So his dad managed the trailer park, and that's where we played, was in his living room. And, 10 o'clock.
Shut it up.
Time for bed.
Time to be quiet.
Have an announcement. You have other things going on at this time. You want to announce that and say, hey,
November 12th. November 12th, I'm getting married to Kelly Sheridan. So she's awesome.
Right.
So she's really and truly probably the best person I know. Like, she really has that caring heart. It's totally opposite of who I am. You know, y'all had Hate Week last week, and then you bring me on this week. You missed your calling. I should have came for Hate Week.
Hate Week. You're right, but you just said that she was the nicest, greatest person you ever met, and I'm like,
we're sitting over here. We're just sitting here.
Really? I've known you for a while and considered you a friend, but you know that could be downgraded. You could be out of that list.
It'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Well, you better find you another groomsman.
You ain't got nothing better to do.
Do a podcast.
We got hobbies now.
Oh,
we got some new hobbies.
Big time. See the microphone?
Got you, man.
Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell.
Yes.
Share it.
And we'll go ahead and say right there with the like, comment, subscribe. If you'll do that, we got to give away Britt's Leather. The great people of Hickory, Alabama. They've sponsored us this week. We got a wallet, a hat, and a coolie to give away. And we got to have a comment.
I really like this wallet.
That
It is
wallet's
awesome.
something else.
No, it is. I really like it.
I think Matthew Cole won the comment wallet this week. But you got to comment. You got to do all three, so we'll know who to pull out of the hats. But I like to just. They're awesome. Here they are.
Are you going to announce the winner next week on the podcast?
Next week on the podcast.
Okay.
And up there, Dylan and Courtney, man, they're two of the greatest people you'll meet. And they took over the business from their dad. And actually, they swapped houses and stuff. And their whole family does leather stuff. I mean, if you want a purse, a satchel, wallet, belt, hat, I've got the belt on now. Hat's at the house, wallet's in my pocket. It's great stuff. I tell you the truth.
That's awesome.
Their whole family has business. Keith and even Jay, who's down the road. And funny story about him. He got run over by a Jeep. He was on a Jeep not too long ago. Scratched up pretty good.
It's a hilarious story.
If you know Jay, ask him about he's on a Jeep running over. Anyway, back to Craig Rowley, the monster.
Yeah, Terramana.
We was going to talk about CrossFit because he did CrossFit today. You didn't do CrossFit this morning?
No. I went kayaking this afternoon.
Nice.
So,
where'd y'all go?
Morgan Cove.
Okay,
So,
I've been out of the gym for a month now. I am getting fat. I thought I'd start early to get my Christmas body going because you need to bulk up. That's what I've been trying to do. I don't want to get skinny guy.
Working.
Yeah, because it's cold in that truck.
So it went from bulking up to just hibernating.
I think so. I got stronger. Then I was like, I want to get skinny again. Let's just go fatter here. So the CrossFit thing, we talked about it. I was a big Ricky Gerard fan until you found out that he was using and he got kicked out. Suspended. How many years? 3?
4 years. Wasn't it? 4 years.
Yeah.
He was that 4
I'm
years.
gonna tell you, I'm still a big fan of it.
I know. And that guy, I think that pushed Matt Frazier up because I think Gerard would have really challenged him if he was in there for the last 4 years.
He would have challenged. So. That was his rookie year that he popped positive, wasn't it?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just came out of nowhere. Everybody's like, look at this dude. And even on the biking and stuff, I remember the first year they did the biking, Matt Frazier, I tried to keep up with him because I knew I could get second place because he couldn't beat him. That's pretty big for a rookie right there.
And I mean, he beat him by like a pretty good bit still.
Yes, he did. And the women's, I used to like the women's best because you could watch them and you could actually learn technique instead of just muscle men and pulling up weight. But Timmy's just doing that for me now. I like watching her. She's so far ahead.
Oh my gosh. She should just compete with the man, with the women weight.
Yeah, do that. I mean, why not? Everything's genderless, right? It just shouldn't be
That's right. It is genderless.
It shouldn't even be a spot in there. I don't want to offend anybody. But,
Think she'll retire?
No, I don't.
They had that. The announcer for the game said something about she was going to make her speech and retire, but then she never did, and everyone's like, "What happened? I thought you were going to retire," And
but
I mean, right now, what does she have to prove?
She's got nothing to prove.
Well, I mean, if you keep winning, I mean, she can win next year for real. And say she wins next 2 years, then she retires. There's nobody going to beat that.
I don't know if nobody's
No.
going to beat it anyways.
No, but you want to. I mean, I'm that good.
I mean, make it impossible to beat almost. Yeah.
Well, the sport's young. It's just getting started. So
I like winning, so I'm just going to
Lots
keep
of
doing it.
Oh no.
If you see somebody Zach Cyrus walking in the door with a tattoo, we are in shock. I guess he can do it. We didn't.
Yeah, I guess he kind of owns the place.
Yeah, we
But
could
you should give him a shout out for his shop. It's nice in here.
It is
is
nice.
nice.
We had to turn the air on. He turned it down.
So have any of y'all signed the wall? In here,
I have, but it was.
I have, but there
first
was
started.
barely anybody that wrote on it, so I couldn't tell you where it's at now.
I've signed the wall, but I don't know where it's at either.
It's
I think
good.
my kids have signed the walls. Zach showed me where it's at.
I can't even remember. It's been so long.
What about Zach? His business. That was the stupidest stuff, right? He's cheerleader. I don't want to tell everything. He's gonna be on a show in a couple weeks anyway, and ends up getting a degree from Alabama, and he wants to TVA and quits to do tattoos at his house.
Oh man, gets a degree to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And then works for TVA.
I got to
It's
do
crazy.
this. I'll quit
It is
everything and
crazy.
do tattoos now. But that's a big risk. He's done well.
Yeah, risk for reward.
It is. So Craig's getting married. With that said, I'm going to tell you a little story about my wife. Whenever I was a kid, I remember, you know how when you're a kid you have to crush on girls and stuff. And I was like, praying to God, show me who I'm going to marry one day. Because that's just something you think about. Even boys do. I hope they do. I did. Maybe it's just weird. I had a dream that night of a girl with freckles. And it was really weird, so I didn't know anybody with freckles at that time.
How old were you? Ish?
12.
12-ish?
Yeah, so then I was like, really, who's got freckles that I can marry? And I started looking around and stuff, nobody. But anyway, me and Amy got married, and of course, if you know her, she has freckles, and on her shoe, her wedding shoe, I wrote a message to my freckle girl.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
That was, it's just God reveals stuff, and I remember that. So, I remember random facts about everything. So,
Yeah.
if you say something to me, and I remember 8 years later, it's weird, I know, but I do. I remember everything. We was at the class reunion not too long ago, and I was just throwing out memories and stuff.
And everybody's like, I wish I could just not remember this.
Yeah,
And
when was
Mikey's
that?
bringing it up.
Yeah, it's weird, but
But that's a good thing to have, though. I mean, at least you remember something.
remember everything.
Oh, well,
It's a
everything.
curse. It's a
And
curse.
a cursing and a blessing.
I was going to do. We kind of went off. We had like a script that's going to go by. We just go off script because today was such an emotional day,
Right.
and God's been blessing us so much. And Matthew's calling brings back a memory. You can share it about the We Are Messengers head singer was at a concert called Matthew Out. And told him about how great he's going to be in this
But
community.
one good thing about it was he called me a big guy.
Big guy.
But it may be because he was like
He's a little guy.
4'4".
Me and
I
Darren.
think he's like a leprechaun.
Listen, me and Darren was eye to eye. Shut up.
So he is a leprechaun.
Yeah.
Luck of the Irish.
No short jokes, please. No short jokes.
Oh, well.
But you don't tell him what he said to you.
So how long ago was that? About 7, 8 years ago?
Richard was living with us at that time.
Yeah, which Mikie was probably about a year old.
Right.
I mean, so this is probably about 7 years ago. And we went to Geraldine First Methodist for if you want to call it a concert or more just like a community rally type of thing.
The Eric Slayton got together.
Yeah, Eric Slayton got together because he's seen him in concert.
Yeah.
It's like he opened up for somebody
Kudos
because
Eric
he
Slayton.
hadn't even made it anywhere. This guy he was kind of big time, but he was making money, but he wasn't where he's at now.
Right.
And so he came, and the cool thing about him was after he got done, he didn't want to take money.
No,
I mean, that's like unreal. But anyways, he sings, he gets down to the end, and he wasn't even going to sing another song, and somebody's like, sing one more. And so he starts to sing. Before he sings, he's just kind of playing his guitar. And he just kind of looks out in the crowd. So let's be honest, there's probably only like 30 people there.
No, there's more than that. There was
You
about,
think so?
Yeah, there's about 70. I mean, there was 2 or 3
Oh,
churches
well,
there.
I mean, he's the guy that remembers everything, so of course he's going to
I counted them.
And he just kind of looked out in the crowd, and he just pointed me out and he said, "There's something about you. I don't know." And I was like, "Okay, no. Is there something on my shirt? Like, what is it?"
Mustard.
Yeah. And well, he sings a song, and after he gets done, he looks at me again and he says, "Well, now there is something just that. Meet me afterwards over here at like the merchandise table." And I looked at Mikey. I was like, "I don't know about this." And he goes, "No, let's go because I want to hear what he has to say."
I'm always driving him to be better and more godly. He doesn't want to be, but he's where he is because of me and Craig. Because he's kind of
push him.
If you don't
Push
know
him, prod him.
he's very shy.
That's right. They push me to where I go. And anyways, he just kind of told me. He said, "Look, I have a feeling that you're going to make an impact in the community." He didn't really say how. Definitely didn't say when. He said, "There's just something about you. You can make an impact in the community." And I really didn't know what that meant at the time because that was like whenever I was going through the worst part of my life. So I really didn't understand it, but it was more or less just like he called it.
He did. And like I said before, I gave him on Facebook and we talked a few times. I'm going to tell him back.
Well, I'll tell you what's cool was like a week later, I messaged him on Instagram whenever I had Instagram, and he messaged me back.
Yeah.
Like he didn't have to do that.
Well, he remembered us. He called us out on another little one of his posts before how much fun he had, and he didn't take the money because they said, "Did you take up money for this to pay us?" We said, "Yeah." You know, the Linda Boulding and all those people from Methodist. They said, "Yeah." And they said, "We ain't gonna take no money."
Yeah.
And it was awesome. There's a storm coming up. They had to cut it short because lightning was brewing. But
And what's funny was we weren't even going to go to that.
No, we was playing tennis.
Yep.
And Matthew's like, "Oh."
And I convinced him to go.
No, he
because
didn't. He was getting beat because he never wins, and he wanted to play one more. I think I can beat you one more time. So I beat him like in 3 hits or 4 hits, and moving on. And I think that's the same night Richard took my
He
cheeseburger.
ate your food.
He ate my food.
He ate your hamburger and said he wasn't hungry.
So he beat you at tennis.
Yeah.
Yes.
He beat you at basketball. Tell that story.
Oh, the basketball.
Because I know you destroyed him in basketball.
I did.
Hold up. Time out.
In
Hold
the
up.
pool or outside the pool?
Hold up.
The one outside the pool.
Oh, man.
That's even better.
Hold up. Let's be honest real fast.
No.
Whenever we're talking about basketball.
Finesse basketball. I'm real good at it. I don't foul.
Okay, whenever we're talking about basketball, his type of basketball is line up and run it down the middle.
Well, if you go. The train's coming.
I mean, I felt like I was in the full Nelson.
He didn't. I was not fouling. In basketball, you get 5 fouls anyway.
It felt like a leprechaun was hanging on my arm.
Then you should be able to get me off. But you did because I was slamming it. Yeah, he talks about how good he is in basketball. He's got some. He was all year, all world,
Oh
and
my
everything.
gosh, all world.
And we was at the house, and I just put it to him. I said, "You think you're that good? I'll play out here."
Which next Sunday, you guys get to put your money where your mouth is.
Cornhole.
Cornhole tournament.
Yes.
That's
Hey, but let's be honest
That's
though.
not-
Let's give a good shout out for cornhole. Craig's gotten a lot better at cornhole.
Watch out.
I don't play
A
cornhole.
lot
You
better.
remember how good of a fisherman I was the first
I
draft?
didn't even go because I don't fish
Cornhole,
either.
baby.
I mean, like he's gotten a lot better.
Remember how good I was at golfing? Cornhole, baby. It's on.
It's gonna be fun. It will be fun.
I'm glad to see you be competitive in something. That'd be great.
And then Joey was telling me this morning that he's got the belt looking really good
If
for
you
the
don't know,
fantasy football
We're talking
league.
about fantasy football league. We have a church fantasy football league, and we all play. Every year you get together for a day and you do something competitive to get the order of the draft. And what we should do, instead of doing the up-down snake draft, order of the draft should be the order of the draft. If you're doing something competitive to get number 1,
Just first
you
top
get
pick
first
every
pick
round.
every round.
Oh yeah.
That'd make it mean something then.
Well, I mean, you got to
Jake
earn it.
Evans, are you hearing me? That's
Yeah,
how we should
Jake.
do it.
You got to earn it.
Jake's going to mess it up anyhow. If
He
you
will.
win the first pick, he's
Oh,
going to
he's
give
gonna
it to
take your
himself.
pick.
He does it
Yeah.
every year.
Be like, oops, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I messed up.
I set the order, but I messed
Sorry.
up.
And
We'll
then
just
what
do it
was
this way.
what was it that you said? As long as you don't take what's his face, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And then what did he do? He took him anyways.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, our church members are horrible. And speaking of the church, I just want to say that Matthew, who is the new pastor of our church, Lynn Darnell, is going to go off and start a new church. I just everybody pray for him. That's going to be a great
Yes.
thing.
Absolutely.
He's going to launch a new one, and he'll be successful. He always is.
Oh yeah.
And we'll
He's
continue
good.
on at our church to keep pushing and striving and get things going and keep it striving. We're doing great
Oh
things there.
yeah. I mean, we're still in the community.
Yeah.
We're still going to do things in the community.
And Michael Davis is our day. He's talking about the drill team, the football team and stuff. And
I'm excited about this year's football team.
oh yeah, and they just talk about, if you need something, let them out. And of course, our church always supports them and do whatever we can for those two. We live in a small town in Alabama, and we love it here. I mean, we don't all the stuff that goes on in this world. We're kind of blind to it. I mean, we're so lucky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's no grunge music here.
No, 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 there is. I was the guy. I was grungy. I was the dude with the trench coats. Sorry. And, that's funny too, because I was a ninth grader and 10th grader, and I was ended up being off-state football player. But at that time, I know. But at that time, I was in that transition. Like, who am I? What do I need to do?
Right.
So I thought about quitting all sports and just like playing the guitar and stuff. Big crack.
So like after you made all state.
No, before. This is before.
Okay,
This is when I
got you.
But see, I played baseball and I started in ninth grade, and it was just
Amazing.
well, there's a lot of pressure being a young guy playing with the big guys. And in the 10th grade, I started in football, and I just thought about, man, I could just quit all this and not have to worry about. Because to me, it felt like you had to get better every year. If you did good in 10th grade, well, crap, I got to better.
That's right. Yeah.
Then my junior year, I rushed for 100 and something yards. I thought, well, that stinks. Now I got to do better at the next game. So instead of being happy about stuff, I was kind of like, oh, that's more pressure on me. Like, I should have had 30 yards. Next game, 40. But like, hey, that's better. But it's right. But it was better. I mean, I stuck with sports, and got with the right people, and of course, Jason Cagle was one of those guys I looked up to. Patrick Cagle, Chris Colgrove, they all helped push me. I rode with Jason Cagle at the ball game because I was too young to drive at that time, so I needed somebody to take me. I was friends with Bo Patrick.
He's probably gonna be pretty happy about getting 2 shout outs in 2 episodes.
Well, he has
I
nothing
don't know who
else.
this guy is.
Oh, you will. We'll bring him. You will love him. And you cannot not talk to him. He is center life. We played a flag football alumni thing for CrossFit last year, and he played. He gained a little weight. He graduated at about 165. He weighs probably 300. So he gained a little. But he's looking better now. He's a lot more fit than he was and stuff. He scored a touchdown, and I think he centered it. Quarterback threw the ball, batted it, hit it back to him. He caught it, scored a touchdown, took his shirt off, and did a laugh.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
He's always been the life of the party, fun guy. And Patrick's the same way. And Bo's the laid back. He's the police officer in DeKalb County.
Yeah.
He's mean though. Watch out for him. He won't let you go.
Tickets all day.
All day. He looks forward to it. That's his life.
Oh yeah, he loves ruining
Gone
people's
home.
day.
He's the guy from Bo Dude. He's that guy. What's that sheriff's name?
I can't remember his name.
That'd been a
Hog?
great.
Oh, it's Hog.
Well, he ain't the
Right,
hog. That's
yeah.
the mayor. He's the.
Oh, that's the mayor.
Oh well.
Some of us weren't allowed to watch that show when we were growing up.
Oh,
Did
wow.
they call him Coltrane? I don't know.
Oh, well.
Anyway, if anybody's out there, you can just message that in. We'll figure it out next week. We'll shout out to it. Say exactly what it was. So we
Yeah.
can't remember.
Like, comment, subscribe, share.
Click. Got a wallet now.
Share it.
Pat, and we got more. We already got a sponsor for next week. We'll bring that up at the next podcast. We do the drawing, and we'll shout the next guy out. If you want to sponsor, just reach out to us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So back to Craig Rowley. We was talking about what God's done for us and the church. How did God lead you to? I know we talked about the music thing, but you grew up in a I don't know what kind of home it was, but you was around the Bible, you was around stuff the whole time. But then prodigal son did away, then you came back. What was the transition back? I'm interested to hear why.
The transition back was wild. I kind of departed off,
Right.
did my own thing, and got to a point where I'm not going to say I was atheist. It was maybe more of an agnostic. I believed in a higher power of some kind.
Yes.
I just didn't necessarily believe
In the God of the Bible.
the God I was taught.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it's really weird. It's almost like just one day he just came and sat beside me and spoke to me, and was just, "How long are you going to keep denying me?" My kids would ask me questions, and I would answer them like I knew a biblical answer because I grew up learning that, but I also knew like a more of a scientific answer, and I would kind of give them kind of both, but not really give them an opinion. And one day I got asked a question, I gave them the answer, and that was I was sitting in my work truck, and I remember the passenger seat was full of just junk. You know how it is. No one rides there, and it was almost like his presence filled that truck so much, and I don't know if it was an audible thing where I actually heard it, but I felt like I heard it. It's just like, how long are you going to keep denying me? And that's when I broke down, and I remember feeling ashamed that the seat he was in was dirty. It was so weird. And that's when I just broke down, and it was a whole different thing. And so at that point, I did sort of set aside a lot of what I was taught as a child, and kind of went to have my own relationship with my father, and find out what he wanted me to do, because I don't necessarily think that everything that I was taught is exactly what he has for me.
Yes.
Maybe it's for somebody else, but it's a relationship. It's not a religion. It's not a set of teachings that you go by, but it's a relationship with actually my father now. And I guess what kind of pushed me away is we have a tendency to put the face of our earthly father on God, and lots of times we think that it's just the judgment, is there, instead of realizing that really it's love is what's there.
Yes.
And when you take that face aside and you put the face of love there instead, it makes a whole world of difference.
Oh, I believe that.
So,
Matthew preached that today, kind of in a roundabout way with the Israel and going into the wilderness and being lost, for all those years. And that's what we are today. When you go down that road, and basically living a life of religion instead of freedom. And that was pretty much that was just. You may not be going there this morning, but that's what I mean. And because we're free.
Religion can be its own bondage.
It is.
I mean, you come out of one bondage and you just jump right back into another set of guidelines and rules and bondage that we call, here's religion.
Right.
But he's called us to be free. He made us free indeed. It wasn't so we could be a slave to sin and be a bondage to religion now. He cut the shackles off, let them fall.
And I love that as well with the law. The law was basically was used anyway, but the law, in Psalms said the law was good. Why is the law good? The law teaches us all kinds of things we need to live by, because if you do those things, you'll live a more abundant life and a happy life, because these things that are unlawful bring disaster and grief and all kinds of other things that the world judges you for, or there's you break the law, you get put in jail or something. You have consequences for those things that you break. So it's not like God
held them accountable.
Yeah, and it's like God isn't not loving you because He's always with you, right? Because we always think, well, turn my back on God. No, God just walked with you the whole way through this whole problem you've had, but you just didn't realize it. And so I just we give ourselves a law for ourselves. And Hebrews does a good job of teaching you that. I freed you from your own consciousness. Why? Because our consciousness and our stuff is what's weighing us down. That's to be free. Does that mean to go sin? Romans tells us, God forbid. Why would you go sin for? You got bad consequences for this thing. That doesn't mean that I was stupid. You got Paul said, I do things I don't want to do. I do things I do want to do. That whole thing where I'm trying to do what's right, but I don't need to do what's right because I can go out and do what I want to, but the law says not to. But we're not under the law anymore. He did away with the law, so I can do these things, but there's no need to do those things. I love God and I don't want to do those things. So it's a big struggle there going on because can you sin? Of course you can sin. You can do what you want to. God's still going to love you. Yep. So I can go sin, and in His grace will abound. That's right. Well, God forbid. Why would you do those things? It's just going to bring other things that hurt you. The law's good. It gives you these structures of how to live life. So when you get that down fast, like I don't do these like I'm
being,
closer to God anyway. I love God. I don't. Why would I do things that hurt God if
Right.
I love Him? I'm not doing it because I'm gonna get in trouble. I don't want to hurt it. I don't go cheat on my wife because I love her. Not because I'm gonna get in trouble. Because I just don't want to hurt her. I wouldn't do that anyway. My
Yeah.
family. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, but you would get in trouble.
I would get in
She would
trouble.
kill you.
She would be dead. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You'd be dead.
Oh, yeah.
If she didn't kill you, Don would kill you.
Fear the freckles.
Don
Fear
would
the
feed you.
freckles, my
Don
favorite
would feed
face
you to
Christmas.
hogs.
We don't have any more.
Well, he'd find them.
He'd find them.
We got some chickens.
He knows
somewhere.
where they're at.
Let those chickens just peck at you till you're gone.
Oh, you're married into a bad situation. Then you get a CrossFit girl. She'd tear you up.
Yeah.
Katie. Katie's too sweet. She wouldn't kill you. She would hire somebody.
She probably would.
Then she'd be like, I don't know what to do.
She would probably hire. She'd hire somebody to kill me just to get the insurance
Yeah.
money.
Hit me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Man.
He left one day and never came back. I don't know what happened.
Whoops.
But I do have a new husband. He's over here.
Just don't dig up the backyard.
She'd hire somebody good. She'd never find you.
Probably so. In the bottom of an ocean with cement blocks tied to our feet.
Go to the lake or Hogjaw Valley. Yes, that's where we go. Anybody out there from my neck of the woods where I live, you know.
There's no telling what's in the bottom of some of these lakes.
Gosh, you
There's
imagine.
no telling what's in the bottom of some of these lakes.
High Falls, they said that used to, they had some divers go down, they had cars that had been stolen and stuff. They stripped them. High
Wow.
Falls.
Wow.
Just been sitting there.
Years.
There's a lake. There's houses and everything else from when they just
Wash it away.
left the stuff. And who knows what kind of bodies
Oh my
are in
gosh.
places.
Well, Craig, you said you were going to play us out or nothing. You going to play us out?
No, I'm not a player.
That's not nice at all.
No. Another song, another podcast.
We would definitely have you back. I've had a good
Sounds
time.
like we got him on a contract now.
Under contract.
But again, we got this giveaway. These things are nice, guys.
They're real nice.
I got a wallet. We've got more stuff. Giveaway later. I think in a couple weeks, Savannah Spears is going to be on. Zach Sabbath is going to be on. Sterling Sparks. Talk to him a little bit about some stuff.
Yeah.
And Craig will be back. Craig will probably be dropping in just anyway, playing music in the background. That's just what Craig Brown does.
Craig's the man.
Yeah, just drop in.
Just drop in.
Just drop in and play
Just for the
background
heck of
music.
it. Yeah.
And we'll be in different locations also. I've been at my house. We've been here at 8. I was going to do it again at my house on the deck, but the kids are swimming and it's very noisy. There's no telling what's going to happen there.
What?
What? Matthew, go in the house. But yeah, thanks for being with us, Craig.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Love you,
Enjoyed
man.
it.